honestly don't care. I just want Democrats to stop acting like they are on this moral high ground politically when they have shown us they're not. You know, whether it's skipping the primary process when Biden stepped down and things like Biden pardoning his son. Stop acting like y'all the pure party and Republicans aren't. And it also shows me elected officials can do whatever they want as long as they have the political will and courage to do it.
Based.
Well, I totally agree with the governor that this pardon will tarnish Joe Biden's legacy. I mean, Joe Biden, let's be clear here, he lied to us for a long time.
It's one thing to do the wrong thing. It's another thing to be self-righteous about it.
You were intending to do this all along, which again is no problem. But it doesn't make you any less full of it. When you pardon your son, going back on your word, telling the American people there was no way that you were going to pardon him, nobody wants to hear what you have to say right now.
What's going on, guys? So the saga continues. There is massive fallout after this whole Joe Biden pardoning his son, the crackhead Hunter Biden. Okay, as you can see, Charlamagne the simp is saying that he has a serious issue with this himself because of the moral high ground that the Democrats love to stay on, the massive amounts of virtue signaling. One of the things that makes me sick to my stomach about the Democrat Party and politicians therein, the fake news, is all it is virtue signaling constantly about how much greater and better they are, how noble people like Joe Biden are, Kamala Harris, how joyful they are. Like, they'll say anything, but the actions don't match the words. They pretty much never do. And this is a classic example. So after months of saying that there was not going to be any type of pardon whatsoever, and a bunch of defending Joe Biden and massive amounts of virtue signaling enough to make anyone want to vomit, now the Democrats are coming out and a lot of them are defending what Joe Biden did after saying that he wouldn't do it and how noble it was that he wouldn't do it. So is he noble or is he not? Like, make it make sense, guys, or is he just good no matter what if you're a Democrat? Well, Charlamagne's an independent, even though he can come across the Democrat shield, and he clearly had an issue with this, and so do others. For example, Stephen A. Smith, TYT, lots of people are calling this out.
If you're the Democratic Party, here's my advice to you. Shut up. The American people have already told you to kick rocks. They don't care what you have to say anymore as Democrats. You have been squashed, obliterated. Nobody in the White House. You don't have the House. You don't have the Senate. And then you're going to walk around talking about how, oh, well, he didn't get 50% of the vote. Well, you didn't either. You tried to highlight how innocent he is. Damn near called him a paragon of virtue. But what did you do to Donald Trump? We had to talk about the abundance of allegations that took place, including an election fall and citing an insurrection and all of this other stuff. We had to talk about all of that. But conveniently, it was coming down the pike like a damn tsunami when you knew you were going to have to run against them. You didn't talk about this then. A matter of fact, you specifically said you wouldn't pardon your son. You can talk till the cows come home. You whistling into the wind. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say right now. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about your party. Because when you pardon your son, going back on your word, telling the American people there was no way that you were going to pardon him when everybody and their grandmama knew you were lying but didn't hold you accountable for it. And now you've confirmed what people believed, that you were probably going to be lying about that very thing that you said you wouldn't do for your son. You had to try to come across like he was victimized because of you, like you're so innocent, like you're such a paragon of virtue. And as a result, now you've brought more skepticism in the direction of the Democratic Party. Why? Because you show you're no different than the other side, which you were accusing of everything. Y'all went after Donald Trump for everything but tying his shoelaces on the right way. You raked him through the coals. You threw him under the bus. You did everything to him. And I'm in no way trying to act like he's some innocent bystander in all of this. But when the word hypocrisy comes up, there's no escaping it. There's no escaping it.
It's one thing to do the wrong thing. It's another thing to be self-righteous about it. And that's what's really annoying and gets under people's skin, right? So Joe Biden said 1,000 times, no one's above the law, no one's above the law. And then on his way out, after he loses the election, or his party does, he's like, well, no one other than my family members, we're obviously above the law, you know what I'm saying? Whoopi's not telling the truth. We showed her clip earlier in the show where she says, well, Joe Biden has good intent. How the hell do you know that? Doesn't look like he has good intent at all.
The reason why I found Charlamagne's reaction to be the most interesting is because it resonated the most with me and how I feel and have been feeling about the Democratic Party, right? And so when I look at Charlamagne and some of the commentary that he's been engaging in, not just after the election, but even during the election when Biden was still in the race, I see myself, or at least the beginning of a bit of the evolution that I've gone through in recent years, right? Where it's not just that you sour on the Democratic Party, you start to see the areas in which the Democrats love to moralize about like, oh, the Republican Party is so bad. And then they engage in the same behavior again and again and again.
And let's not forget about Based, Scott Jennings, okay? So all the folks before pretty much glorified independents / Democrat shill leftists, but at least they're not shilling as bad as normal because they're calling this out as complete BS and hypocrisy. But Scott Jennings is over here just cooking this entire panel like he always does. I mean, this is particularly egregious, though, because, I mean, it's not even debatable. Like, they're trying to debate whether or not Joe Biden even lied about this, like Whoopi Goldberg the other day on the video I posted today. If you hadn't seen that, check it out. Saying, oh, this isn't a lie. It's not a lie at all. Like, how the hell is it not a lie? And then trying to turn around and blame it on Trump is the most ridiculous thing ever. Imagine if you have, like, I don't know, a cheating significant other, and then you turn around and you cheat on them. It's like, okay, was the first person wrong for starting something? Sure. But if you continue with bad behavior too, for revenge or reactionary, you effectively lowered yourself to their level. And in this case, Donald Trump didn't even do anything wrong. Hunter Biden's a crackhead, hires prostitutes. I mean, this guy's lied on his gun form, and he did tax evasion. And you got this whole mess of a bunch of corruption with Burisma. So you got a very bad guy here. This isn't some clerical error on some paperwork that your attorney filed. This is a dude who's literally on drugs and got his dead brother's wife, I guess widowed wife, on drugs as well. This is not a good dude, guys.
But wasn't, to Scott's point, I mean, wasn't it a lie? I mean, you can defend it, but wasn't it a lie that he was not going to pardon him?
No, I believe the circumstances have changed. I think that we now have a president coming into office who's talking about firing squads, who's talking about running people around the country and making sure that everyone who's his enemy is going to be punished. And Hunter Biden lied about his drug use on a government form when he was buying a gun. And he failed to file and pay taxes when he was a drug addict. He paid back those taxes with interest. Donald Trump himself was indicted for 17 counts of criminal tax fraud, more than Hunter, and he's going to be the president of the United
11
States.
years.
So
you're missing a few things here. 11 years, full and unconditional pardon. NBC News reported that the president and his top aides met this summer and decided two things: that they were going to keep this option open, but they were going to publicly maintain that they would not pardon Hunter Biden through statements from Joe Biden and statements from the White House press secretary. They had a meeting, they coordinated the lie, I guess for political purposes, and now that he's leaving office, he is going back on what he told the American people. This isn't simply changing your mind. This is just fulfilling what you always intended to do. No Republican is shocked that he is doing this. What I am shocked at is the duplicity of the President of the United States and his top aides to come together and form this lie and stick to it this entire time. We all knew it was ridiculous, and now the American people are seeing what a disgrace he really is.
I think it's incredibly rich to have you say that the people got together and they were duplicitous and they created a lie.
NBC News said it.
I'm saying they created a lie because, honestly, what the other side has been saying.
Simply by saying, well, I'm just out looking out for the American people.
But why would he have answered?
What do you mean?
Why would he have given such an oddly specific denial numerous times? What could it have possibly been?
Scott, I have no idea.
Politics, corruption, partisanship, grifting. That's the answer.
Would it have been, the Trump administration had an opportunity to investigate it. They could not verify the things that you're alluding to.
They tried to, and he got impeached over it. They impeached Donald Trump over the investigation that Hunter Biden has now gotten a pardon for.
You don't think...
Just a quick point of fact.
2 points.
The Department of Justice investigations, indictments into Hunter Biden, this has nothing to do with the Republican Party. They don't run the Justice Department. The Justice Department, as you might know, since you had been in the government at one time before you lost your race this year, is an agency of the executive branch. The Attorney General is appointed by the President. This is the Biden administration investigating, charging, and ultimately finding conviction of Hunter Biden. The Republican Party runs no investigation. This is an official DOJ action, is it not?
Well,
just say yes.
No. So, are we saying we have a problem with all of those things?
How many of the Trump children that we were told are corrupt needed pardons? Zero.
Scott, no one looked into them.
It's your point,
getting
Scott.
$2 billion from the Saudis.
The Trump children did not face federal charges. To your point, I'm going to give you that. But the person on here, Charles Kushner, who was convicted for a crime.
Did he go to jail?
Yes, he was living in Alabama prison.
He served time?
But he was
he was in prison.
He did not.
Completely different crimes.
It strikes me that one of the arguments against
you didn't answer the question.
He's literally moved from a jail cell in Alabama to a...
They're not equivalent. They're not equivalent in any way, shape, or form.
Please.
But you're bringing up an issue, and you brought it up, so I want to address it. This idea that Hunter Biden is being selectively prosecuted. Now, one of the core criticisms of the Republicans, and Trump specifically, during the Biden years, is that the Department of Justice is engaging in selective prosecution and investigations of Republicans. And today, what I hear Democrats saying is, you know what, you're right. Joe Biden's DOJ does engage in selective prosecutions, which is exactly why we need people to come in and clean it out now. There seems to be bipartisan consensus.
But
selective prosecutions.
Does it open that door, Congressman?
What door? I'm sorry.
The door
Can I
to
ask the question. Do you all think that Merrick Garland should be fired because of this corruption at the DOJ? You think there's corruption there. You think this was a politicized witch hunt. But the Attorney General should be held accountable, no?
These charges were trumped up because his name is Hunter Biden.
But wouldn't you, if you were the president, would you believe the attorney?
Let's consult our legal experts.
It's a damn shame when even corrupt behind fake news leader, the most boring anchor on television, Abby Phillip, gotta straighten you out. Okay, that's really bad. Okay, when even she's saying, well, hey, I mean, I know I defend Democrats a lot, but I mean, this is a bold-faced lie. Even I can't defend that because you know what? It damages your reputation directly when you try to defend a bunch of dumb behind nonsense. That's why those cackling hens at The View, if they ever had a reputation, they don't have any whatsoever. At this point, Karine Jean-Pierre is a known liar. Like Sarah Huckabee Sanders was Trump's press secretary. She went on to become the governor. Karine Jean-Pierre ain't gonna become the governor of nothing, ever. What the hell is she gonna do after this? She's gonna have to become an MSDNC commentator. See the difference? When you have these DEI hires, you're gonna be some sort of woke behind commentator on some stupid network that's failing. She might not even have MSDNC to go to at the rate things are going anyway. That's what happens when you are a DEI hire for the Democrats. But if you're a merit-based hire for Republicans, you go on to become the damn governor. This is how it works, guys. So the fallout is massive. Everybody and their mom is going off about this, and now you're having infighting. Okay, now you got the shill leftists who are defending a bunch of nonsense and BS, and you have the leftists who are kind of like, okay, this is perhaps a bridge too far, and maybe blaming Trump. I mean, they didn't win us the election, so maybe switching gears and to change the strategy perhaps is what we should do and focus on holding ourselves accountable and our own party accountable for our actions rather than just, well, we had to do it because of Trump. Trump made us open the border. Trump made us F up the economy. That strategy doesn't work. First off, it's false. And secondly, it's stupid. Why would you do two stupid things, false and stupid things? That's a radical left for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. So these are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rise channel. I'm out.
However, I do have a problem with the window of time in which Biden has given his son a blanket pardon. But nonetheless, I think that window is far too long. And to me, it signals that there's a possibility that Hunter Biden did something illegal. And Joe Biden is offering this blanket pardon for a lengthier period of time in order to protect his son.